And we're live. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series. How's everybody doing today? Good to see everybody. I hope you're in the mood for some great conversation and much more as we welcome Dianne Steinberg Lewis. Yes, Lucy from Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Yes, we're talking about Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, the movie, and so much more. She's a prolific singer and songwriter, also an educator, too. We're going to talk about that. If you're familiar with her, you know what I'm talking about. The super fans out there. If you're not, you're certainly going to learn a lot more about this incredible talent who has a great spunky personality. Remember when Lou Grant said to Mary Tyler Moore that she got spunk? Well, Dianne has spunk, and we absolutely love it. She's very energetic, very passionate about everything, about family, friendship, about everything that she's done in her career. And she's been working on a lot of other cool things as well. Of course, we've been in a pandemic, so the world has been upside down, but she's been sailing through. You may remember that Kenny Lee Lewis was on our show as well. Yes, notice the connection there, Lewis. They are husband and wife, and both incredible artists in their own right. And Kenny, we were just chatting with him seconds ago as we were getting the audio and everything all checked out here. But of course, you remember the movie well, right? I'm sure, with the Bee Gees, of course, and Peter Frampton, and even, of course, somebody that we always talk about a lot, George Burns was in the movie as well, Billy Preston. I mean, it was a who's who of iconic people of the day. And there they are, the Bee Gees, of course, and Frampton. If you never saw the movie, you should check it out. It's quirky, it's funny, it's interesting. It goes in 1,000 different directions. Sometimes when you think, it's going in one direction, there's George Burns, of course. You might not have remembered that he was in that movie. And of course, Billy Preston, yes, making magic with those magical instruments. Really a very funky musical movie of the time. That's really what it is. It was just like a musical. There's Steve Martin, who was in it as well. And even Aerosmith was in that movie. Yes. And of course, our special guest joining us, Lucy, or Dianne Steinberg Lewis, joining us as well. And there she is. And look at this. Did you get yourself one of these back in that day? There she is Lucy. These are just some of the wonderful things we have here marking the occasion of her joining us here on the show. We see lots of comments coming in for our fantastic audience, and from the audience, who are the lovities who watch around the world. Yeah, they watch all the time. They comment live. We encourage you while you're there to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's Jim Masters TV. We'd love if you can do that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. And while you're doing that, be sure and click the notification bell. It's a little bell icon there, so you never miss any of the episodes of our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series, which we do quite often, almost daily now. 550 plus episodes we've done of our series. So click subscribe and give this episode a like. We love when you comment during live chat, but we really love even more when you give the episodes a thumbs up like on our YouTube channel. You can even do that right now while you're on the channel watching, and leave a comment for us on the YouTube channel as well. We would absolutely love that. Good to see everybody. I see a lot of smiling faces here. We're going to check in with everybody that's here and all the great viewers that are commenting. Keep the comments coming. And again, don't forget to leave some comments on the actual YouTube channel for us as well. We would love that. You guys are great. I'm just seeing all these great comments coming in already. Thanks for all these comments. I'm going to check with them in just a second. But live from San Luis Obispo, California, where it's about 85 degrees, but our guest says it feels like it's 90. Dianne is here in the house, her house, live on the Jim Master Show Live. Wow, there it is. Oh, you've got the mask.
Somebody sent me, Steve Joyner sent Kenny and I one of these, and I wear it. Nobody even knows what it is. They think I just got a big mouth or something.
That's cool, isn't it?
And John DeBritnio, a friend of mine. Well, first of all, Jim, thank you for having me as your guest today. And you are Jim Masters, the Masters of TV. Live.
Oh, you got that memo, huh? My mother sent you that
memo. Say that. But I got to show you this. John DeBritnio, he's been sending me things forever. This is Sergeant Pepper bubble gum. And look at all these cards. I mean, but you know, I mean, my fans have been so sweet to me, and they don't care what I look like now. So you know,
You look like $1,000,000. Are you
I
kidding
know.
me?
Well, they don't care that I look better than I ever used to look. So you know,
But the fans
just
are
kidding.
amazing, aren't they?
They
It's
are.
amazing. All these years later, they still know every aspect of the movie and the music, and some can even recite it all verbatim. That must really be something for you because you've done a lot of other things before and since. And yet, that particular time in your life and your career is sort of encapsulated in incredible deep memories for so many people. And the movie itself, of course, it was a who's who of everybody of the time that was in
Everybody.
that movie. When you get all of this fanfare from people who are remembering the movie and remembering you specifically, that must make you feel terrific, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, listen. You know, honestly, there's some people that didn't like it, and I guess we shouldn't talk
Couple out
about that
there.
today. But but you know, it's like I've always said, I don't care what they said about the movie. What you know, and the ones that love it, hey, you know, go where you're celebrated. You know, so I'm just happy when they let me know what it meant to them. Some of them heard my music before I did Sergeant Pepper.
Yes.
Those that never knew who I was decided to go and figure out what I used to do. And those who are in this area, whenever I go to Detroit, you know, they find me, and it's it just adds more real estate to the discovery of who the real Lady Di is. But
That's
anyway, no, I'm
right.
just kidding.
Lucy with those diamonds, yes.
Yes.
Growing up in Detroit, obviously, Motown, the influence is so extreme when it comes to music. We've had several guests on the series who hail from that fair city. For you, how much did growing up in that environment of Detroit, Michigan, and having all the music and Motown and everything around you, and even within your own family, any inspirations that sort of inspired you to want to get into music and performance in the arts?
Oh yeah, you know, and some of those who have been following me, they know a lot of these stories. But for your listeners who don't, I was born in Memphis, and because my whole family, my dad, my uncles, they were all in jazz.
Yeah.
But you know, my grandfather, Milton Gus, his mother raised him because he didn't know who his dad was exactly. So she raised him on Beale Street. And so he was down there with all the musicians, all the guys that don't read music. And he didn't read either, but he used to go down to Pee Wee's Saloon. And if you want to get into what Pee Wee's means to Beale Street, you got to read about it because
Yeah.
it's fascinating. All the keyboard players from everywhere used to go down there and play. And my grandfather, having grown up around Beale Street, he was working at Pong's Laundry when he was 10 years old. But you know, what is a 10-year-old going to do? They're going to go down there where the music is and where people are playing dice and shooting pool and everything. So
Exactly.
he went down there and he learned piano from ear, from just hearing. And so when he was about 21 years old, W.C. Handy came in through Pee Wee's Saloon. I mean, you know, the people that used to play down there, Jelly Roll, Morton, I mean, everybody went through Pee Wee's. And uh, W.C. Handy came in there and saw him when he was 21 years old and took him out on the road with him for a while. But because W.C. was a musicologist, you know, and had other and composer and wrote other arrangements. You know, it kind of required that he read after a while. So Grandpa went back down to Beale Street, and he proceeded after meeting my grandmother Ida Fox Clauston. She had 5 kids, and then he proceeded to have 10 more kids with her. So the oldest was Nan, and my Aunt Nan sang. She was the first one to leave, singing out on the road, singing jazz, and then all the brothers, you know, they just, you know, they, in high school joining a band and everything, and she was the inspiration to get the hell out of Dodge, you know.
Yes,
But
right.
you know, most small town people, and I know Memphis was like the big shot place to go,
Oh, yeah, another
but
musical city,
yeah,
absolutely.
yes, but and my dad stayed and my uncle stayed, and so they had my dad had his orchestra and taught all of his brothers how to play. So now you've got to figure you're down on Beale Street, you're meeting and playing for everybody. And Kenny was telling me, and I might have to refer to him over there because sometimes I forget the name. But my dad became so renowned in that area that he had a band called not the Luther Steinberg Orchestra, but the Territory Band. And that meant whoever you were, from Duke Ellington to Cab Calloway to anybody, you had to go through the Territory Band to get your musicians, or I mean, they weren't giving up any territory. you know you used them, and then dad even played first trumpet. But then his younger brothers, especially my uncle Louis, he had Morris played saxophone, and my uncle Wilbur was the singer. And both Wilbur and my dad were taken over by, well, my dad was signed to oh my God, Elvis Presley's guy. See, Sam Phillips. And he was signed before, this was before Elvis became Elvis. And Sam Phillips took him in with Leonard Chess to do a boogie, because Boogie Woogie was coming on. See, there was the jazz, and then there was the blues, and there was the ragtime and all that. But then Boogie Woogie was that that crossover thing that
Right.
people kind of like went through for that period. So my dad was able to get in on Tough Green and the Rocketeers and all of all of those, but they had to change his name to Lou Sargent, and my uncle Wilbur was Les Mitchell.
Mm.
And so they did Riding the Boogie and Mob Bob Boogie. And my dad, who was a bona fide jazz musician, he just went, after I did that, and he had a mild hit. He traveled.
Yeah.
But he said, I never looked back. But the one that didn't, because he was younger and wanted to be like my dad and play trumpet, my dad brought a bass home one day because the bass player, sometimes musicians will call you and say, hey, I can't make it because you get a better gig. And so dad kind of got tired of that. So he bought a bass, put it on the top of his car, because they didn't have those electric basses then. They had the big acoustic basses.
Right.
And you had to, when you were traveling, you had to cover it up and put it on the top of your car.
Right.
So he took it home to Louis. And Louis, who was an aspiring wannabe, his older brother, trumpet player, he said, what are you giving me this bass for? He says, because you were going to play tonight. He says, I don't know what to do with this. He said, just go up and down the neck until you find a note that works.
I like that.
And so he found a lot of notes that worked and went on to be a session player for Stax
Mm.
Music, and along with Steve Cropper and Booker T and all Al Jackson and all. So, and then one day they were just driving around the studio because somebody didn't show up for a session. And my uncle, this is the way my uncle Louis tells it. He went across the street to get him a little gin because the artist was really late, and he feeling good, and he went back into the studio, and he loved Peter Gunn. Do 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 do. Okay, so
Yeah.
he's messing around with it, and he decides to turn it around. Do 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 do. The same notes.
Yeah.
So Booker T jumped in because he had been working on something, and they kind of paired up, and then Steve Cropper got in there and came up with that iconic guitar, and I'm going to tell you the name. And then Al Jackson, and they just went in. And every time I see Back to the Future, when Michael J is on the
Yes.
stage, and then the drummers and everybody's looking at him because they don't
Yeah.
know what he's getting ready to play.
Right.
Every time I see that scene, I think, was that what it was like? I mean, they're just kind of going, what's this? And they all got in, and that's when Green Onions was born. And then they called themselves after that. They didn't think they were doing anything. Booker T and the MGs. So my uncle Louis was the bassist and co-founder with Booker T and Al Jackson and Steve Cropper for
Mm.
Booker T and the MGs. And Doug Dunn was Steve Cropper's friend in kindergarten and through school. And so he got him into the Marquis which had a hit song called Last Night. And my Uncle Louis, because Duck couldn't make that one, he ended up playing on that one. So, when you read about these songs and about Memphis hits and so forth, you'll see that this was the one exception where Louis Steinberg played on the Marquis hit. So that's Memphis. But then my mother was in radio. So did you read about this already, or am I telling you something
No,
new?
I love this. The audience is learning for the first time. Being a television and radio guy myself, I knew that, which really surprised me too, the background in radio that she had. Tell us about that.
Well, and see,
It's
doing
exciting.
these interviews, there were many people who saw me in Sergeant Pepper. They never put together that my mother and I were related.
Right.
In
Yeah.
fact, the media gets things wrong all the
She had
time.
her own separate career
She
and
had,
yeah, made her
well,
mark.
my dad didn't like it, but she was trying to talk him into being a latherer and get over being a musician. So that's a whole nother story in itself. But so he consented for her after they said, please, can you let her go on radio? And he went, okay. So she went on, and as her career began to grow on WDIA radio,
Yeah.
which was the first African American programmed.
Right.
The owners were still white, and the program directors were, but then they brought B.B. King in and Nat D. Williams, and this changed the entire dynamic of what America would be exposed to in
Yeah.
music, and not just Ellington and Doris Day, and I mean, because those were all those songs were, they were blessed by everyone, but to finally hear Little Richard and B.B. King blues on the radio, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this was groundbreaking stuff. So
Yes.
if you ever want to know a little bit more about our music industry and the role that the disc jockeys, all of them, played a
Yes.
very important role. You wouldn't have anybody having too much of a hit record if the DJs weren't there to say, I like it or I don't.
Right.
So,
Tell the audience your mother's name, on-air name.
oh, my mother, look her up. Martha Jean, the Queen, because, and you can look up Martha Jean Steinberg too. And like I said, the media gets it wrong. Some people thought that my mother was related to my Uncle Louis. Well, that's her brother-in-law. They just get
Right.
it all mixed up, you know. So
And she is
many
here to clear the air on the Jim
James,
Masters Show live.
yes, she is.
Yeah.
The things that people, our parents, and the people around us, and you're talking about the music industry. Being in Memphis and being in Detroit, I was exposed.
You're extreme, unbelievable.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's like it was kind of second nature for some of these people to come around, and you know, uh, you know. Uh, they say youth is wasted on the young. I mean, they would come around, and I go, yeah, okay, hi. You don't even think anything of it. And then you look back and you go, oh my God, if
Yeah.
I could have them right now, there's so many questions that I
Oh
would
yeah.
have for
That you
them.
would ask, right?
Yeah, but Jim, I'm going to say the same thing about our families. We've got people in our families, and some of them you can ask about things in the past, and they'll go, I don't want to talk about it for
Correct.
whatever
Yes.
reason.
Right.
Have
Yeah.
you gone through that?
Sure. And there's right. Yes.
And then you go, well, why don't. And then kids, they don't
My mother's
care.
the youngest of 16.
Oh, honey, so you know all about this big family thing. Oh my God, I'm wasting my time on telling you. But yeah, 16.
She's the youngest of 16, and there's only a 20-year span between them all.
What?
There's
Oh,
only a 20-year span
yeah.
between the 16.
No, I get it.
They only had 3 channels back there. They didn't have Netflix and all that stuff.
Well, I mean, she didn't have to. I mean, sure, she had her own show every single day. I mean,
Your mother, yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can't change the channel.
No, that was it.
So,
So
oh my God.
wonderful influences with Memphis and Detroit. So what was your initial entree into this wonderful world you were surrounded by growing up, Dianne?
I just saw my dad in the front room playing the instruments and knowing our family had all this music, and it was Uh, my babysitter, they lived down the street and up this, right next to the railroad track on this unpaved road. And so we would go up there, and I remember the Mitchells, May Bobby Mitchell, and there were about 11 kids in that family, and you know, they had maybe a 4-room house, and we would go in there and see all those bunk beds and that little kitchen, and but they provided for their family and they took care of us. We were a pain in the ass, but I would go up there, and maybe she would also get the switch on us, so. But May Bobby's father was a Baptist preacher, and his church gave him this broken down piano. I didn't look at it as broken down, but I knew, you can tell when you're playing, it's kind of got that old sound. It's not tuned. It's not shiny. But they used to just play things on the piano and bang on it and show me things. And so one time my dad, we were at somebody's house, and I did this little thing on the piano, and he went, "Oh." And I was like 5. And he went, "Okay, it's time." So I started my first piano lesson at 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic, huh? And did
So
you
then,
like it right away?
oh yeah, it's
You
up
did.
my alley.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some things that I got the gene. I know Kenny, did he talk to you about the gene or the curse? He
Tell
looks at
tell
it
us.
as the
Yeah.
curse.
Tell us about it.
You get the gene of music and that's all you want to
That
do.
is it, right?
I mean, I guess some people have the gene for baseball or football or something like that, but
Yeah.
it's
I
like,
have it for this kind of work, hosting and
see,
television and radio and all. Yeah, it's definitely something that goes very deep in
yeah.
communicating and inspiring people. Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's like, and there's so many things, they said, "What are you going to do with the music?" My daughter's at Maryland Institute College of Art. Uh, Finally went back for her senior year and
Wow.
in graphics. And, people go, "Oh, art school, Hey, that's okay, because her sister also went to Laguna College of Art and Design, and now she's worked her way through DreamWorks and had,
Yeah.
you get
Yes.
opportunities to do what you want to do, but there are
Yeah.
other things that you have to do that makes that even better. So
Yes.
where you're tunnel focused on what you want to do in your
Right.
life, you
Right.
have to keep getting other experiences, or you'll be a
Yes.
one-trick pony.
Got to be well-rounded. Yes, I've always we were trained in school and even working in the industries that it
Hmm.
was always good to be a utility person, somebody who knew and understood everything and what everybody's doing around you and respecting it and appreciating it too, because you never know when the other person doesn't show up and they call on you to help out. Hey, we need to run out there and just do something. So to really understand, appreciate, and have your hands in a lot of different things makes for great variety too. And you become even more valuable to the people that you're working with because you have bits of knowledge about all of it, as opposed to just you can have the focus on what you love, but also understand all those other components and things around you that allow you to do what you do, because there's all these other things that are part of the thing you want to do. And if
True.
you understand them and appreciate them, and maybe you can even do some of them, it makes the understanding and appreciation of what it is you love even greater and deeper and more richer experience, right?
Yeah, and sometimes you just have to take a job that you think, just like there are no small parts, there aren't any bad jobs unless, there are choices you have to make, but uh, go ahead and learn. Get, uh,
What are some of
all of
the things
us.
that you did along the way? When you had your ideas on your pursuit and what you were loving, what are some of those other things you did along the way too?
Well, in seeing the family and the things that they did, my Aunt Gladys, she played the piano too, but she ended up a teacher. And she was a damn good teacher, just like I am. But anyway,
You are,
she was an inspiration to me. But Gladys played the piano, and as I'm doing our genealogy stuff right now, I mean, I'm meeting people that are now giving me stories I had no idea. Even Kenny's family, we had no idea that his father could sketch and draw. We thought that he was just a novelist that really wanted to be a saxophone player that ended up working for the IRS, So,
what an interesting combo that is.
Nope, tell me about it. But, look, you don't wear your job. If you're a policeman, when you go home, you can be a policeman, but you don't, you're a human being that goes through things. And sometimes you have to separate it and leave some things outside. I mean, heaven forbid if you're a policeman and you police everybody at home, although I'm sure that happens too. But, when we were talking about the different things of being a utility, I don't know, I just started thinking about women in this sense. Women have had to raise the kids and do all the work around the house.
Talk
And
about
man goes out, talked about utility. But then there are some women who were so devoted to doing that when their husbands died, they didn't even know where the checkbook was or how to even.
Not
even know where to go get things
up because
I don't know why. I don't know why.
I remember an aunt who they were older, and my uncle really was of that generation, did all of that, right? And the bills and all of that. And then when he passed, it was like, where do you find the checkbook? And
didn't know what to do with it.
It was a whole other, and she didn't drive either.
Well, see, now and I'm drawing a comparison between, you can have a purposeful life, but you need to learn other things. It makes what you're doing bigger, and it makes everything more that you get is more that you can give, and for yourself too.
Right.
Because if you're a musician, I've heard people say, well, so what do you want to be? I want to be a star. Oh, you want to be a celebrity? Okay. Well, you want to be famous? You could be infamous, and we got to figure out where that goes. So why don't you just get busy and first learn your scales and learn PR and learn the tech. I mean, I saw a thing on, oh my God. Anyway, all the female artists are doing this. Shakira. Oh, she was out there. She knew where to tell them where the lights were going to go.
Yes.
And, you begin to know what are camera angles, what's the good lighting, what's the bad makeup, like maybe right in here that I did this morning. But anyway, so.
You look great. You got that halo above you. You got the Beatles behind you. I mean,
yeah, see, the sun moved, so I'm going to be here for my halo.
Yes. Halo. The sun moved, but the Father and Holy Ghost are still with you.
Yes.
And the Beatles behind you.
Yeah, I know. That's my backdrop. That's my boys, I met everybody except George. I'll tell you that story later.
Yeah.
But so I don't beat a dead horse here. It's important to get your basics down. And look, some people don't have to go to school, and they are geniuses, and they learn, and they think outside the box anyway. So they don't need the structure of a building to do it. It's good if you can get credentials, but Lord, again, there are people who are just dedicated, and but if you're not that type, you're going to have to plan yourself. So this is what I meant to get to.
Yes,
okay,
that's right.
My dad said, "I want you to be a professional musician." I went, "What do you mean a professional musician? I'm going to be a singer." No, excuse me, stop. I was going to be a concert pianist. I wasn't thinking about singing then. It just came naturally. I never even thought about it until after I graduated from college, and I was just singing in the clubs on the weekend at college. But that was secondary. I wanted to be a concert pianist and go to Juilliard School of Music. That didn't work out. So, but when I was coming up, my dad would put music in front of me and challenge me and say, Phineas Newborn Jr., we called him Finest. He was a jazz genius, pianist, la da da da. But anyway, and he was in my dad's band. So
I
my
told
dad
you
would,
guys she's spunky.
yeah. Am I
Love it.
spunking up too much?
No,
Should I not have the
fantastic. The
coffee?
world needs more of that.
Well, you
Oh,
know
wait,
what?
you
You
have
should have.
coffee there? Let's
Yeah.
toast. So do I. Let's
Oh.
toast. Cheers.
Well, hold on, because I think I have Kinney's coffee.
Oh,
It
well, it's
might
all in the
have
family, right?
something
Oh,
in
his
it.
might have something
That's all
exciting.
right. Go ahead. Come on. Bing.
Cheers.
Cheers,
All
darling.
right.
And what is this one? This was the. Ooh.
What's that say?
That's the museum. That's
Museum of
the.
Music?
This is the Museum of Music, the NAM Music, National Association of Music Merchants Museum. That's near San Diego. We went there. It's great. You got to see all these
Very
instruments from
nice.
way back and
Oh,
all the
yeah.
old technology.
Places like that are cool. This is actually a mug from a place that no longer exists in Florida. It was a beautiful place called Cypress Gardens.
I
And
remember that
yeah,
place.
they're gone. Yeah, they're no longer there.
So, I was going to tell you. Oh,
We're talking about just really making sure that you get the foundations and you know really learn the basics and then take it from there. And
okay. And take it from me, or you can do anything you want. But I'm just tell you this. What I decided to do was follow the example of my Aunt Gladys and what my dad said, who did not go to college. But I mean, they called him the maestro. So I guess he didn't have to go. But anyway, I went to school. I graduated from college. You know, all of us were told you're going to go to college. And so since I wasn't going to be a concert pianist, it was like by my junior year where I had to declare my major, they just put me in public school music. I was so boy crazy and college. I mean, look, if I could take that guy right now, I'd whip his ass. But anyway, so am I cussing?
but anyway, she says.
But anyway, so but I performed on the weekends, and I got my degree in public school music, high school. I could teach K through 12, and so my student teaching was in Battle Creek, Michigan, and
Yeah,
so
that's right.
when
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
now look,
yeah.
I was just about to turn 21, and some of the kids in there were like 18 already, so we weren't, we were like peers, kind
Yeah.
of, except I had the authority.
But you had the authority.
Oh
Right.
yeah, and then I played piano and I would sing for them and they would sing for me, and then I learned gospel piano from one of the students because the kids used to come into the music room and they were from all different churches in the community of Battle Creek, and so they would start sharing their songs and their harmonies and everything, and I would look at this Vera Wardlow. Now this is way back in the early 70s, darling, but Vera Wardlow was a sophomore, and I said, show me what you're doing. And so she showed me. Now, look, I was from Memphis, but I was raised Catholic. So I'm doing Kyrie eleison, okay? And I'm playing that. But around the corner is the Sanctified Church, and around the other corner is a Baptist church, and I'm hearing stereo, blues, gospel. It wasn't in my fingers then.
Mm,
It's like, I'll tell you, I can spot something authentic as soon as I hear it or see it.
yeah.
I appreciate the people that hone their thing, but usually I can tell where it comes from. It's not a bad thing, but it got to a point where I started hearing so much Motown stuff and people. I'll tell you what really upset me is when I went to Memphis and we went. I think we went to Pee Wee's or some club down there, and to hear them trying to do Motown, and I'm going, we got Memphis here,
Yes. You know what that reminds me of?
What?
When I was when I graduated from college in New York, my college roommate, who is married with 3 children now and lives in Massachusetts, he's a sports writer. But before all of that, he'd studied journalism. We studied journalism, broadcasting, all of that in school.
Yeah.
His sister was stationed in San Diego, California, with her husband. They were in the
Yeah.
military, and we were invited to come to California for the summer and use the house and the whole bit. It was absolutely fantastic. We met up with another friend who was in Costa Mesa. We were there the whole summer. It was sort of our gift to ourselves for graduating college and going out to California for the summer, and fresh out of college. And we were invited to Costa Mesa, and another friend picked us up and took us all around, LA, the whole thing. We went to a pizza restaurant in Los Angeles, and they said, now I'm from New York originally.
Okay, come on, New York. I want to hear this.
I'm out east on Long Island, and we're here between New York and Boston and southern New England now. But they said they were going to take us to this pizza restaurant in LA, and we went. And on the, choices of what you can get as far as types of pizza, there was one called the New York style pizza. And
you're going to talk about food. Oh my God.
Let's take a look. Like what you're saying, as far as like them doing Motown and, in Memphis and all. Same thing with LA with this New York pizza. The pizza had pineapple and banana.
Oh my God. More sin. That's more sin.
That's not a New York pizza. But I will tell you also, that trip was also the trip where I learned about a certain cocktail, which was very odd how I learned about it. I don't know why it took me going all the way 3,000 miles to the West Coast to learn about this, the name of this cocktail. We were at we were having dinner another night, and they were ordering drinks, and this one was ordering this was. So I said to the waiter, I'll take an iced tea. And the waiter kept saying, okay, what would you like? Lipton, Tetley, Nestea? I said, no, I'll take an iced tea. And he goes, yeah, Lipton, Nestea, Tetley, with the tea bag.
I know what you were thinking.
No, the cocktail. We're gonna have some cocktails. He says, you mean you're asking for the drink? I said, yeah, you're asking for a Long Island iced tea.
You mean a Long Island?
And I said, a what? I said, a Long Island iced tea. And I said, is that what it's called? I said, because I'm from there originally. And we just, maybe because New Yorkers shorten things and they talk fast because they got to keep things moving. We just say, I'll have an iced tea.
Oh, you just cut to the chase.
They know what it was. So it took me going all the way to LA to learn about that.
Well, yeah.
It ties into what you're saying as far as trying to do the Motown elsewhere other than.
Yeah, isn't it funny how everything relates to music, to food? I think
you and I are cousins somehow.
We need to check this out.
Very familiar.
16 and 15 kids. Come on. Oh my goodness. I was going to tell you something. I'm forgetting about it. Is anybody typing anything in? Do they want me to answer anything? We can talk about so much off the wall stuff right now, but it's all relevant.
He actually says.
Yeah.
To ask you about meeting John Lennon, what that was like.
Oh.
And welcome.
That's my husband.
Yes,
okay.
He was a great guest on our show recently. The Steve Miller Band, of course, another epic group.
After I got the audition and won the part for Lucy, which, okay, once I'll answer this question. Once I got that part, I was invited to. No, I messed up. Well, okay, forget the Sgt. Pepper thing first.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did it come to the point where all of a sudden you're being considered for this part?
Okay, well, let me answer this because Lennon came before I even got the part. I had a manager, and he was giving a party at Perry Botkin's house for the songwriter, and Kenny, why do I forget this guy's name all the time?
Perry Botkin Jr.'s house?
Yes.
Oh, what a terrific arranger composer.
Oh, he's fabulous. He took me in the studio and they said, let's try her on a song. Let's take her on. Let's call Angel in the Morning, Baby. I wish I'd had this voice then. Yeah, and we did it. It didn't fit. it was a great song, but
But
it
it
didn't
didn't.
fit me.
Yeah.
Nah, it didn't fit me. But anyway, he gave a party for the song. Oh, come on, Kenny. What? Okay. So we went to the party for this songwriter, and he was a good friend of George Harrison's and everybody. I mean, I didn't know that then because the people I used to emulate singing was other than Barbra Streisand and Roberta Flack and Melissa Manchester came along, and all the girls that played the piano and sang. That was me. I didn't care what they sang. I
Carole
loved it.
King.
Huh?
Carole
Carol,
King.
well, I got a story about that too. But Carole King, yes, and I was finishing college right before I was going to teach, and Carole King comes in with this album, and I'm looking at her with the jeans and everything, and me, the chandelier earrings. If I'm going to be on stage, you got to be Miss Sparkles, So I'm looking at her with the natural hair, and and I'm going, okay, now I'm hearing her with this very simple delivery, and it's not very dramatic, and it's all the songs, but then it was the way I heard her last night on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and she's still hitting those notes and doing it the way Carole King and only Carole King can do it.
Yes.
But see, at that time, when I was trying to develop my sound and I heard Carole King, I went, everybody likes these songs. And so I started doing them. And then, your first instinct is to try to start doing them like they do it.
Right.
And somebody wanted me to take me in the studio even then.
Yeah.
And I went in and I started singing one of her songs, and they went, no, that's not what they had in mind, is what they heard of me before that.
Yes.
So,
the real you. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I hadn't gotten to the point with what Dianne, how she would articulate these songs in a different way. So it was at the beginning of the discovery of who I was and was not. And yet I was still very influenced by her music and inspired by the fact that she was a singer, songwriter, and played the hell out of the piano. So
yeah.
But so anyway, I went to a party for, oh my God, okay, for the songwriter, the singer, tall song. Oh my God, this is terrible. So at Perry Botkin's house, and so me and this other young lady, a starlet, comes out. I can't remember who she was, but we're talking, and then we see this guy come out, and we go, oh my God, George Burns. And so George Burns comes over, he's talking to us, and we're asking him about Gracie. And like, I knew that my grandmother and my mother, if they knew I was talking to George Burns, they'd flip out, And I'm going, this is oh, George, I know you're kidding. Hi, baby.
There he is.
There he is.
Hello, he misses you. He's got his cigar. He's ready to go.
Oh God, George! He was so sweet.
He was in that too.
Yes, he was. But so I met him before I even tried out for Sergeant Pepper. And then in fact, the day that we showed up on the set, he goes, "Hi, Dianne." I mean, he actually remembered me. It was anyway.
That must have been a thrill.
Well, it was a thrill. So George is coming out, and we're talking, and he's just giving us all the time, and he had his cigar, and he had his drink, and then the door opens in the back. The light comes in. That halo is moved now. The light comes in, and then, oh, there he comes. And I go, who is that? And then he comes with his group, and they're right in front of me. And so Perry Botkin comes over, and he says, Dianne, I'd like for you to meet John Lennon. And he was not with Yoko then. He and Yoko had just broken up. So May Pang was with him. And they had a group of about 6 or 7 people. And so he had his foot up on some little step or something. And we were in the foyer. And so I shook his hand, and he had kind of a limp handshake, Well, I just squeezed him a little bit. It's so nice meeting you. And I went, why was his hand so limp? Maybe. But anyway, it was so, I didn't really get him then, but I met him, and then afterwards, we just all hung out at the party, and it was fine. I don't even know why I told you that story like that. I'm
I
ashamed.
think, well, Kenny, I think chimed in also too. Nielsen, Harry Nielsen.
Harry Nilsson. It was a party for Harry Nilsson. Are you going to edit this at all? This is
We're,
live.
we're live. We're live. It's
Okay,
great when it's live.
okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Well,
So,
so
you're John Lennon, and then
and George Burns, two people who were in the show.
yeah,
And I knew my mother was very close friends with Billy Preston because she was close friends with his mother.
yes,
And so, but she knew Billy Preston at the WDIA days when he would come and perform at the Goodwill Review.
oh
And
yeah,
it was, gosh, I mean, I would go on the set and I would meet people and just go, oh, hi, God, and they go, how's your mother?
yes.
I mean, even Aretha, how's your mother? Yeah, so anyway, it's been a very rich experience. There's George.
There's George. So, how did it come about when you were being considered to be, a part
I
of this,
I
and
was at
Lucy, and
ABC Records about to release my new album because they had the first one on Atlantic Records. That was Dianne Steinberg, and then the second one was Universal Child. So the Universal Child album had a picture on the inside of the album that that I wish I could reach this picture and I would show you, but it's on the wall and I might tear up my computer. But anyway, so there's the girls.
yeah,
Oh, that's Stargard. Oh boy, that day. Oh, I could tell you stories about that day. That's not going to go good for radio, though. I mean, television. It
look at this
might.
beauty.
Yeah, that was the
Wow,
same.
that's a great shot.
That was right when I was about to release my album, and I had auditioned, and so they sent me in for this photo shoot.
Very nice. I mean,
And I kept that dress for a long time. I was thinking about making a tablecloth out of it at some point, or a big doily. And this picture. Now you see how big my hair looks. That the one I was back to back with one of the girls, so my hair looks yay big. But that's interesting.
it's cool,
Yes,
huh?
yeah. That's one of those hairdos for that new show. With the drag queens on it. That
Oh
that
yes,
that go from city to city. I love that show. By the way, I love
yeah.
that show. Okay, so I was at ABC Records and Charlie Miner, who was one of the PR guys. I think, yeah, and the vice president was Otis Smith was the one that signed me to the record deal. Okay, the album's finished. Charlie Miner has me come in his office. He says he's on the phone. He said, just come in here for a minute. He's on the phone. And he says, yeah, I'm looking at her now. And I'm standing in the doorway. And he goes, yeah, I'm telling you. And he has my album open up to the inside picture, which I wish I could show you right now. But hey, Kenny, why don't you come in here for a minute? But is that the sun?
I think it's the Son, the Father, and the Holy Ghost.
Oh, I'm telling you,
You're
okay.
very
So
blessed.
I'm being blessed right now. It's right down the middle. Okay.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
It's a beautiful spotlight. It looks like you're about to sing with the Beatles as your backup.
Yes, isn't that wonderful? Okay, so this is distracting. I'll move over here. So anyway,
It's
uh,
following you. See the
so
light.
so he opens it up on the desk and he says, I'm looking at her now. I'm looking at Lucy. And I didn't know what he was talking about. This, it looks like I'm getting ready to go to heaven right now. Oh my God. Yes, Lord. Okay, so, um, and so can you see me? Kenny's gonna come here,
We
ladies and
see
gentlemen.
you.
Mr. Donnell.
No, I'm gonna get something to walk.
Oh no, he's gonna come back here.
You're just a wealth of inspiration. You're a
Am
wealth.
I?
Yes,
I,
you're
I mean,
very
I've.
blessed.
It's. I'm.
You
Everything is
look
being
like you're
in
about to
flood.
do a preaching service. What would be what would you preach if you were preaching right now to the choir?
If I was preaching right now to the choir, I would say, fulfill your dreams. Be everything you were meant to be. and even some things that you didn't think you would be. Just go with it. Try it out. You're not gonna fail. I'm gonna tell you, Denzel Washington, the patron saint of having careers, he would tell you, fail and fail many times. I don't like it. I know you don't like it, but go ahead and don't be afraid because you're gonna learn something. Be everything you can be. I don't know. I'm not cut out for that one, am I?
Isn't that something?
What? I was just joking around right there, but I'm serious. Oh, Mr. DeMille is going my life. There it is.
Very
Maybe I should
nice.
just have him stand here.
There you go.
Thank you, Daddy.
He's got connections, huh? He's got connections.
Yeah, it's going to fall in a few minutes, but thank you. So
In case
I think
anybody's just tuning in
he's had one
now,
of
that is
these.
Kenny Lee Lewis. That is her
Yes.
husband. In case everybody
Yes.
just popped in now, like, who's the masked man that just kissed her live on
Well,
TV?
he's getting. Yeah, we had one interview where at the end I licked his face, but
Oh.
watch out now. Okay, so listen. Did I answer the question?
We were talking about really how it all came about, where you were, being considered to be cast in this movie
Yeah.
with all these
So,
legends and the Bee Gees and Frampton and everybody.
well, my manager, he said he told me about it, but he was talking about film, and I said I don't want to be in anything with a bunch of rock stars that don't know how to act, and so he didn't tell me about it. So when I said, "Why didn't you tell me about this film?" and he went, "But that's what you said," and I went, "Yeah, but look who's in this film, for Pete's sake." I mean, because he wanted me to try out for this show, which was a children's show, from what I understand, it was right when Sesame Street was starting. And, that wouldn't have been bad. I mean, I'm a teacher. But I told him then, I said, I've been teaching and I don't feel like teaching right now. Although when I perform, I pick songs, and I have fun songs too, but I usually pick things that have a message and promote upliftment and encouragement and just fun, sexy stuff sometimes. But I like to perform and
Yeah.
leave a message. And then when I teach, especially in high school, if you have to do junior high school, you gotta pull out your performance chops to get their attention.
Yes. So you have this incredible educational background that some people might not realize as a teacher, as an educator. So that's why I could see easily them with your personality and your musical prowess and just the understanding of, educating youngsters too,
Yeah.
and inspiring them why they would consider you for Sesame Street and for other shows like that, because, you have the full package,
It was appropriate. It was
Yeah.
appropriate. And, uh, I'm going to finally answer a question you asked me earlier. I had to have a plan, and that was I was going to graduate from college. Then I was going to perform while I was in college. And I didn't get that idea until my sophomore year when I saw, and here's another name from the past, a girl by the name of Marcia G. Was in my sophomore year as well. And she had a guitar and she sang Puff the Magic Dragon. And I was like bumming money from everybody because at that time I was smoking cigarettes. I was bumming cigarettes and lunch money and everything, So I was in the dorm. But Marcia G was in the dorm lounge, and she was singing. And I said, "What are you doing? Learning all these songs?" And she said, "I just got a job at the Whistle Stop, and that paid $4 an hour." And I went, $4 an hour? How many hours do you play? Four. And I went, what the heck? Are they auditioning anymore? And I thought, well, gee, I mean, I was in the lounge playing. People be making out on the couches and everything, and I'd be playing Just Once in a Lifetime, a girl, and so I was just experimenting on everybody. So finally, I went down to the Whistle Stop, and I just went, I'd like to audition for whenever you have an opening again. And see, like, when you hear about things, don't wait. Go down, size it up, see yourself there. And in fact, even after that, I remember going in Detroit to a beautiful hotel that had a wonderful supper club and a nice stage and a big grand piano. And I remember going in and meeting the owner, and I looked at the piano and I go, yes, I'd be very good in this room. I don't know. I wasn't trying to be snotty.
Yeah.
I just went, yes, this is a good fit. And then I go, you, if you would like for me to come in for one night, I'll play for you. And then, or I would come in and sit in. That's what I did in Hollywood. I'd go to
Hmm.
they had cocktail hours in those days. And at that time when I just moved here with my old boyfriend, but anyway, so, and we go to all the cocktail hours at all the hotels and everything. And they'd always have music, and they would always have lots of food to eat. They'd
Yeah.
have those little hot dogs, and then they would
Oh,
in the blanket.
pigs in the blanket.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, so I knew I wasn't going to starve. That's why I chose to come to Los Angeles instead of New York, because I thought it's going to be too cold there. If I had a problem, it's going to be too cold. So then I would hang out a little bit. Somebody'd be playing, and I go, "Can I sit in?" And they go, "Yeah." So they would let me sit in. And sure enough, especially in Hollywood, there was always an agent or somebody around.
Right
You
there.
never know who's in the room.
That's right. That's
You
right.
literally, you can be at a. You need to apply that to other things too, because you can be at a. You can be out having dinner and talking too loud about something, and somebody in the next booth,
Is listening.
and they're best friends with whoever you're talking about, good or bad. So
Right. Burn no bridges. Right.
don't. I mean, not on. Be mindful of where you are, and
Exactly.
know that anything that you want to do, here it is. Always know that you will have what you need. I had a girlfriend who used to say, "I don't know if how I'm going to pay my rent on this month," and I'd say, "Did you pay it last month and the month before that?" And she went, "Yeah." I said, "You'll pay it. You always have what you need." Now, with your mouth, say what it is that you want and see it. And if it's not for you,
That's right.
you'll know. You'll
Yeah.
know because circumstances will force you to go in a direction.
Another direction.
And
Right.
sometimes you feel like, where the heck, my whole world is falling apart. But that's because maybe you're not listening, or to the spirit of things is coming
Right.
in you to force you to do this other thing.
Exactly.
You will always get what you need.
Right.
What you want, you got to ask for.
Yeah.
You got to ask for it.
Speaking
Bottom
of
line.
asking for it, one of our viewers watching, John O'Dowd. Welcome, John, to the Jim Master Show Live. Pleasure to have you here.
Hi, John.
This is pre the Sergeant Pepper's movie. He asks, Dianne, please discuss your 1976-ish album. I've always liked your song, Fantasy Come True.
Oh,
Thanks,
boy.
John, for the question.
Well, this was a time when this was before Sergeant Pepper, and ABC Records was, they asked me, what do you need every month so that you don't have to go do anything except write music? So, I told them what I needed to pay my rent and everything, and they covered it. They covered everything. And they said, we're going to cover it no matter how long it takes within the year. So it started getting pretty close, and finally they said, well, when are you going to go in and record? And I said, oh, God. So, it's like, it was just 3 months later after we'd made that deal. And so they said, get with your agent. We want you to go get booked somewhere, and you're going to go and stay there and just work on music. So, and perform every night. So I went to the Holiday Inn at Ventura. It had one of those rotating restaurants. And I wanted to start performing, and I had a couple of songs that I had done, but my bass player, Herb Mickman, went to Paris because I thought I was going to do more of a jazzy thing, you know. And then he was gone. So they said, you got to get a bass player. So then I called my friend Jeff Lieb, who is now Jeff Paris, singer-songwriter, rock, everything. And he's,
Extraordinary, yeah.
you know Jeff, don't you?
Sure.
You got to do an interview with him if you
I'd love
haven't.
it. Yeah, I'd
Well,
love to.
it was Jeff. I said, Jeff, you got to play. You got to come to Ventura with me. And he says, I'll do it. And I know this is going to sound long, but it has a point here. So he says, I'll do it. And I said, yeah, but I'm going to be playing MacArthur Park. And I says, can you read this? And he went, you know, why don't you call my friend Lewis? I went, well, who is that? So he brought Kenny down to see me because I was sitting in for Clydeen Jackson down at the Continental Hyatt House, you know, the place where all the rockers used to go and throw things out of the window and tear it up down there, you know. So, in fact, that place was in the Sgt. Pepper movie. And that's where I first met Kenny. And Burton Cummings used to come downstairs because he was friends with the Continental Hyatt House owners, and they would let him stay there. And he'd come downstairs and play with us, you know, and everything. So Jeff brings Kenny, and then he says, that's the one that when I saw Kenny, he was a guitar player. So so he said, Lewis can play the bass. So he was going to be my bass player. And so in the process of us rehearsing and me getting him to change his new costume, we had to get rid of those clothes. You know, when I first met Kenny, I thought he had just come in from the fishing or something. You know, he had this hat on. He showed it to me the other day because I always said it looked like Buddy Epson in the Beverly Hillbillies. And in my mind, it has fishing hooks, you know, and real, you know, stuff in it. Fifth flies. So he
Buddy
showed it to me.
Epson, he found the oil, and they had that mansion.
Well, I know. Well, we were going to strike oil together because he started writing me love letters, and you know, I'm really good at reading letters, and you know, it's almost like the prose jumps in front of my eyes and becomes the words it's almost like, you know, in Criminal Minds and things when the genius thing started coming to the person and they can fit it all together,
Right, like a puzzle being put together. Yeah,
yeah, like
absolutely.
Tom Hanks in you know, the you know, the one where they're trying to find the Holy Grail and all that stuff.
Yes.
So I'm reading it, and so I don't think Kenny said I was a fantasy come true or anything, but I just started reading them and putting the music together, and actually the song was about Kenny and I. And we just celebrated our 38th wedding anniversary on Monday.
Congratulations.
Sunday to the 19th. And we've been, and when we wrote that song, that was when we first met, maybe a year or so after, but we've been together 45 years now. So Fantasy Comes True comes out of love letters.
Comes out of love letters. That's fantastic. Really beautiful.
I don't know. Maybe he better start writing me some love letters now because I got to write some new tunes, dude. Yeah.
Kenny, did you hear that?
He knows.
He's taking notes.
Well, so he's been yelling at me to get back on it. So, and that takes us to where we are now. He talked to me a few years ago into joining his band. And thank you, Sherry. And the one that was right before that, Jane. Thank you.
Jane is watching in Sweden, and Sherry's watching in Kansas.
Yeah. Oh, Kenny and I did an interview with a young lady who is in Sweden.
In Sweden, yeah.
And
amazing, huh?
You know, I apologize.
What was it like, you know, when you're on set and here you are, you know, you are with the Bee Gees and Peter Frampton and all of these, you know, at that time period, everybody was flying high. Their careers were, you know, epic. And then, of course, you have legends, and you've got Billy Preston in there, and Steve Martin a part of it, George Burns. I mean, on and on and on. What was that like? I mean, definitely, It's a classic movie. It's quirky. It's funny. It's poignant. I mean, it has like it's throwing a lot of different things at you all at once with the storyline and of course, the music being the central focus. But for you, what was it like? What were the days on set like? What was it like working with everybody?
Um, it was, when I would go, I mean, you're sitting and you're just waiting for direction, and everyone was very nice. George Burns, I mean, first day on set, he was, giving me hugs and stuff, and to meet my BD, Donald Pleasance,
Oh
was
yeah.
really great because I had seen him in his Twilight Zone and seen him in the 007 movies and
Yes.
everything. And, he never made it difficult to talk to him at all. And um, uh, we started out with one director, and then we got Michael Schultz afterwards. But there was so much going up and down that we were hearing about a lot of possible conflicts and things about how the music should be done, and to make sure that the Bee Gees didn't do it like the Bee Gees, but because disco was coming in then, and they wanted to preserve the integrity of the way the Beatles did things. But I mean, and for Peter and the Bee Gees, I would imagine that that kind of locked them in a little bit. But then when it came to uh, 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 Steven Tyler and Earth, Wind and Fire, and I mean, like, I wanted Lucy and the Diamonds to be a girl band. But see, I didn't write it. So when the costume designer came and put us in this very outfit right here, at first it was long dresses, and we said, "Oh, no, 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 no. You got to split this all the way up to here. We need to show some legs. I mean, otherwise we're just being Diana Ross and the Supremes, and it's bad enough that my name is also Diane, and I'm from Detroit. So, and sure enough, when I saw Diana Ross at the premiere at the Cinerama Dome, and she had that little fro, because she was doing the whiz, and and so Billy Preston was behind me, and I looked and I looked over, and Diana Ross is like looking at me, and she's kind of staring me down, and I went, well, she probably knows it's me from Detroit, right? And so, or maybe she knows my mother. Of course she would, because my mother's playing everybody's records.
Right.
So within the community, whose daughter is who. But see, I got to say this too. I got Sergeant Pepper on my own. My mom used to be my manager, but when it came to Sergeant Pepper, I said, no, I can't. I said, Mom, I can't tell you what I'm going to do. I got to do this on my own, or people will say, she just got that part because, and that's something to be considered as well, for people in the industry who have connections. You got to prove your stuff yourself,
Yes.
So anyway, I went over to Diana and I said, hi, Diana, because everybody wanted to be Diana Ross. I mean, the Supremes.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. So, and when we were in high school, and so I went over and she just kind of looked me up and down, and I looked back at Billy Preston and he just kind of cowered like that. And I went, oh, okay. So I sat down. I
Yeah.
was behind the director, the head of NBC. I forget his name right now, but his wife played the wife in Jaws with.
There was Brandon Tartikoff. He was at one time president, and then there was Fred Silverman, I believe.
The one that was married to the lady who was in Jaws.
Mm,
You know what? With
yeah.
I can see her right now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You could see her face, right?
yeah, and she turned around and she says, "Oh, I just love you," and I was sitting there trying to listen to what she was saying, and I just thought, I don't know if I just got dissed by Diana Ross or not, but hey, you know what? You just put your crown on and you just keep on going, So
That's right.
I mean, look, you have to do it. But anyway, so generally, any production is going to have its ups and downs and
Yeah.
your misunderstandings. But Michael Schultz was very understanding about some of the requests I made, and but I got to tell you, on that last scene at the end, when every star in the universe was there, just about,
Yes.
and we saw Tina Turner because see, Stargard was right behind me. I was next to Sandy Farina. Stargard was behind me. George Burns was next to me on the other side, and then Peter and the Bee Gees were in the front. I'm looking at the picture now. I should have brought some show and tells here, but anyway, so so Tina Turner came in, and we just went. That's what we should have looked like. We should. We said, God, dang, But you know what? It is what it is, and my children and grandchildren will be able to see me forever and a day, forever more.
That's
And
amazing.
so
Yeah.
it's all a blessing,
Yes, right,
Me,
huh?
because look, if I hadn't done that, would we be
Yeah.
speaking now? So it's a blessing.
Somehow I think we would be. I just don't know, it's just somehow I
Everything's
think
meant to be.
everything is meant to be. Being, of course, Lucy and affiliated with the song, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. What was that like for you when that was the song that, would be so connected with you for continually for years?
Well, it's really funny because some people call me Lucy. Well, Steve Miller, because my husband Kenny's in the Steve Miller band. We were all in Chicago, and so I'm in there. I'm upstairs at the gym working out, and I hear some guy talking real loud, and I look around the corner and I go, "That's Steve Tyler," because you can tell who the rockers are when they come up to work out. I mean, they don't come up there looking like everybody else in their little gym outfit. I mean, there's just something about them. I don't know if it's the makeup or the earrings or what it is, but I look around there and I see this guy, and he's got braces on his, the little soft braces on your knee, and he's
Yeah.
jumped up and
Yeah.
I'm sure fallen more
Few
times than
times.
you or I have, but and those backflips and things he does, he's amazing. But I'm hearing him, and he's talking about booking the next gig, and I mean, here's another thing: you're the star, you know how the lights are supposed to go, you know what the business is supposed to go. I bet you, I don't know who his manager or his agent is, but I bet he knows what terms and how it's supposed to be after all these years.
Right.
So you got to have your business sense together. Don't be silly out there.
Right.
If you're going to be a star, there's a lot going up under it to make sure that you last. And don't waste your time with, if you're going to do drugs or whatever, just don't go overboard on anything. It was me and I like crackers and chips, so, and I'm always talking about people who are cute and skinny and everything else. But you got to be mindful of your health. I mean, I was watching LL Cool J on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, this guy is in shape. He has got his stamina up. He's staying on top of it, and you got to do that. I
Yeah.
mean, you gotta look. If anything that you can learn from our generation of rockers, look closely. And don't emulate just because somebody died at 25. Like that's part of being great. How are you gonna know it's being great? You won't even be around here to see it. So it's like there's a lot of things to consider, and it's not just being a star. There's a lot that goes into it. And then, and I'll say this for those who go, but I'm not perfect, because, I've gone through this, a long time of trying to be perfect before I do anything else. But there are people out there who are not perfect, and they have their act, and they have you'll call it a brand. I say they found their authenticity and their voice. And they've been blessed to have people around them, feeding them the things that they need to not only thrive but survive. And you're going to need that. You're going to need an awareness of that.
Absolutely. You would imagine, with everything going on set, in the filming of that movie, there must have been some wacky times, crazy times, because there's so much that was going on in that movie. I mean, just even watching the movie itself, you sense that there was some really wild, crazy things and some excitement happening as the cameras were rolling and when the cameras weren't rolling.
Well, see, there's always this expectancy of what everybody was saying. I mean, this was supposed to be as big as what? Jesus Christ Superstar. I mean, I'm trying,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
was the epic,
The
blah, blah, blah.
big,
And,
yeah.
and for many it was, and it was, I would say it was somewhat of a disappointment that it didn't end up the way we thought it was going to be for our careers. I mean, Peter Frampton couldn't even make the premiere because he had been in a car accident, and and then he kind of regretted doing it in a way,
I
in a
heard
big
that
way.
some of they thought that, yeah, it was mixed. The result mixed afterwards as far as being a part of it.
Well, I'll tell you, with Peter, I think it wasn't mixed. I think he didn't like it. But Kenny just brought something that I wanted to share with you. Can you see this?
Yeah, let's bring that up and see what you got there. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Is it too much glare? But anyway, you see
Well,
me, don't
tell
you?
us, tell us. Yeah,
Okay, I'm looking through the glass right here. Kenny, you holding that up? Hold up the bottom.
you see the
Right
Gibb brothers in front,
there's
right?
yeah, and then there's hello. There's me, and there's George. There's Sandy Farina. Who's that? Oh, that's Paul Nicholas. And so anyway, Kenny, let it down some.
Yeah, if you lower it and center it a little bit, you'll see it. Yeah, there you go. A little bit more. There
Look at
you
that
go.
big bright light in there. Anyway,
Too much wear.
there's too much wear. I think everybody
You see George
appreciate.
Burns in there. Everybody, the whole, yeah.
And then I got a big giant one here in color with Carol Channing and Wolfman Jack and Gwen Verdon. And I was supposed to open up for George Benson before I got the movie, and for Gino Vanelli, and uh, and then I got the movie, and then a bunch of musicians really got upset with me because I wasn't going to go on the road like that now. But so we had to cancel
I mean,
some of
just
those.
to have it was like the star of stars in terms of the amount of people involved in that project. Like you said, it was supposed
Yeah.
to be such an epic, like Moses or type of, production, Wizard of Oz, like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But in the meantime, it was the greatest of times. I mean,
yeah.
I remember when the entire cast we went down to Chinese Grauman's Theater
Oh,
to
yeah.
see Saturday Night Fever, and everybody was at filling that show. I mean, Debbie Allen was behind me, and just looking at all the faces, and it's pretty wonderful because you're amongst all the people that you've seen forever.
Yes.
And people are human beings. I mean, I've very rarely met somebody who was an ass. And
Right.
I can't remember by anyone I've met
That
that was just a total jerk. I mean, I'll think real hard, and if somebody comes to mind, I'll text it to you.
yeah, right. It might be. Uh, John O'Dowd, watching live, says, please talk a little bit about the LA music scene of the late 70s and early 80s, and if you managed to escape the various dangers and temptations of that era. Thanks very much.
What was the temptations of the era? I mean, I know what he's asking. Okay. The club scene in Los Angeles and going out to Marina Del Rey. And, before I even got my second record deal, I was going to Charlie Brown's. And I mean, Bill Withers used to come in there and see me because he was another friend of my mom's. And there would people be sitting out there that, I'm sorry, this is, and because that's where everybody hung out. You know, a lot of people had apartments out that way too, but there were more places. My gosh, I wish we had that now because of the pandemic. Everything's closed down, and you could hear great music and see great people performing. You know, I think the Troubadour is still going, the Roxy's still going. So you got to go to L.A. for that, you know, and but it's not up here in San Luis Obispo. Places are just now starting to open up
Slowly
again.
open, right? Yeah.
And we went to a show at the Amsterdam just to hear a guitarist, a jazz
Just to
guitar player
hear.
play, and he sang a couple of songs, and his wife sat in, and they had big windows, and they were packed, and everybody still had to be far apart, and they pulled up a table that was on the sidewalk up to the windows. We watching the show in the window. So we stayed there once, and then we went to Libretto, which was downstairs, and it was like being in New York jazz. I mean, and I'm
Yeah.
looking around and nobody's there because, I mean, there were a few people there, but it's once they start opening, nobody knows they're open yet. They don't know what's happening yet. So we just have to pray, everybody, and try to support things and go along with it and hope that people follow the guidelines and not cause a ruckus and just go sit down, enjoy the music, have a great time, and let's get through this already. My
Right.
gosh, musicians are having a really tough time right now. You know, I
They
mean,
are. They
people
are.
aren't on, everybody is not on tour yet, and I'm hoping they will be, but we gotta get well,
Right.
and so I'm going to calm down now and
But
say
it's
it.
true. It's true because it that we're now it's getting colder out, so the wave is going up again, and
Yeah.
it's just ongoing, right? We all have to be on the same page. And I keep saying, I hope through all this we, are more empathetic, kinder, more unified, less divisive, and we're just all at the table together to because you have to be that way to get
Yes.
through all these scenarios in life. We need one another.
Listen, on the political scene, you know, we just let's send out the best thoughts.
That's the best
Let's
thing.
let's uh, let's. My neighbors, everybody here is not in the same party, and you know what? They still bring me fruit from their trees. You know,
It's
because we
beautiful, right?
we got avocados, you
Nice.
know, nice Meyer lemons, and you know, and so when you have an abundance, you share with your neighbors. You call to see how they're doing. Um, you know, if I go into somebody's house and they have a picture up of somebody that I don't particularly like, it's their house. You know,
Their
I have a
house,
choice of
right?
not going and still loving them. And now, if somebody's going to get in your face and go off, then you know that, well, I guess we're at a crossroads here. But in the meantime, let's, especially during this season, civility, and this is what a judge told me. Judge O'Banner Owen told me in Detroit. She said, civility is a blessing. And it's a blessing because it holds those other things at bay. That means you use your mind and you make a choice about it. No matter how upset you are, there's a lot of things you can say. So I say, do what Jim and I do. Take it to the art, baby. Go to the art room and say what you got to say. Go make something. Go, I don't know, take some junk and make something beautiful out of it, you know, and then just impart, be there for people who just may need a word from you. You know, I mean, it's kind of easy.
Very true. Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
am I preaching now,
No,
Jim?
it's all beautiful. It all makes sense. It's all reasonable, logical, and I'm right there with you. We talk about that a lot on our show. It's really, part of the understanding of the human condition and that we are all here for a short amount of time and every second is precious and what we do with it and how we react to things absolutely matters greatly. A lot of
Yes.
this comes from a lot of what you're talking about comes from the true essence and spirit of who Diane is and also having that teacher background. Teachers, like to inspire and empower and lift up and educate and guide.
Well,
And
Jim,
that's what
just
you
like
do.
you have to know when to hold it, when to fold it, and to walk away,
Right.
especially during Thanksgiving where people want to go to the table and they want to start bringing up stuff from the past. You know what? Fold,
Eat the
walk
turkey and
away.
stuffing.
Eat,
So good.
enjoy. Um, uh, Everything doesn't have to be said because it's the truth. Just put it in your pocket or leave it outside the door and take that with you. And take some leftovers too on your way out because we're all trying to stay on a diet. But
Yeah.
so the new things that we need to consume are the healthy things, and that's thoughts and
Right.
words, and
Yes.
just trying to do your best and clean your house or hide the mess until everybody
So
so they don't have to see it.
then when the relatives come. So
Yeah.
what kind of music are you listening to today? What kind of music do you enjoy that fills your soul, whether it's past, present, or what have you?
This is really something because my sister sent me TikTok and I wasn't on TikTok and I see all this TikTok stuff and I go, what tune is that? So I'm you know, Greta Van, see, I forgot the last name. There's a group out of Michigan, Greta Van, oh my God. They were on Stephen Colbert, and I've been listening to them, and they're kind of rock. And I'll hear all kinds of music. I mean, I'm not, if it feels good and I'm in, you
Yeah,
know.
right.
Um, but what feeds my soul, when I think of that, I think of it's not. You know what? I wish you had written me this because I'm just forgetting everything. I think there's
Or genres too. Maybe start
the
with the
genres. It's
genres,
kind of like
a
see.
mix.
I always get this artist mixed up with Erica Badu, but it's not Erica Badu for me. It's India Ari. She sings music that just and she plays guitar and it's almost like it's R&B but it's kind of folky and then it's uplifting and she sings like I am light, I am light, I am light. She has this deep voice and it's like,
Oh,
oh.
that sounds really nice.
And she goes, and she even has a song called, oh my God, The River. And it's about the river flowing through it. And when I hear it, I think of my mother and how her influence fed me and the other people in my life. Like I even think of, and this is a name I forgot in my last interview. When I was at college, there was a teacher that I avoided, a piano teacher, because everybody said, Dianne, she's so hard, she will crucify you. So I don't want her. And her name was Phyllis Rappaport. And Miss Rappaport, my last year after I did my student teaching, they said, well, you have one more applied music piano thing you have to take, Phyllis Rappaport. And I thought I was going to fold up. And so I went in. And see, I never really wanted to major in music. I wanted to be a dancer. But then, in this new dancing, you're going to have to know some gymnastics and a whole. You're not just going to get up there and do your little steps.
Any chance we'll see you on Dancing with the Stars?
Oh, I don't know, honey. My knees. I don't know about that, but that would be lovely.
That
That
would
would
be
be
nice.
lovely. But and who knows? But maybe I can represent the people who've had knee replacements.
Yeah. That is true.
But listen. So I was playing. And the guy I had before you had everything was intellectual and technical and everything. And then she said, I have to do a cadenza. That's something like, that a line of notes that you have to play very fast. So,
Right.
so she's sitting there and I'm playing it and she goes, why are you playing it like that? She went, when you sit down at the keyboard, sit down if you get your cadenza. And she got into it and she went, and it was like she was dancing at the keyboard. Ah, she hit me. And then finally I realized that I could use my entire body, not just my hands and my arms and my brain to remember or to read in my eyes, because I wasn't singing, but I could use everything. And so when she did that, that changed everything in my thoughts. And the one thing that I've said on every interview as a teacher and as a student, go feel the challenge and go toward it. If you're afraid, go toward, do the challenge anyway, because it's going to unlock something in you that maybe you didn't know you had, or you had it, but you didn't know where to put it or how to place it or how to apply it. And so when I used to sit at the piano and sing, I used to throw my hair around and do all this stuff. And this guy, Murray Wecht, would help me with my music when I first came to Los Angeles. And then after years after I went on, he adopted another young lady to mentor. And I didn't know until I was looking up last year for Murray Wecht to find a songwriter who was with, I think, Capitol. And he said he looked a lot like Lou Adler. He even had a dog like Lou Adler, who was a producer. You have to look Lou Adler up. And if you look at him, you're going to see Murray Wecht. But, and he last year I looked him up to find out that he had passed. He had made his transition into the other realm. And he mentored Tori Amos. And I used to look at her and I go, she kind of reminds me of me. I had no idea that we had a connection with Murray Wecht. And so when I started performing, I put my whole body in everything. I put my hair in it. I put my notes into it. And that's living, and that's breath, and it's life, and it's movement, and it's work, but it energizes you. So,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
And
Beautifully said. Yeah. It's so true.
I,
The lighting on you is spectacular right now. Look at it. Look at the glow.
oh, wow. Well, Kenny set the lights up, you know.
Very nice. And it's shifted throughout the day and it's at a sweet spot right now. Do you stay in touch with any of the cast who's still around from the movie?
Um, I used to stay in touch with Donald Pleasance. And in fact, a young man in London is writing a book about him now. I can't go through a lot of details, but he contacted me to give statements about me working with Donald Pleasance. And then I turned him on to Paul Nicholas, who is in the UK and has an acting academy there still. And I just love working with Paul. Oh God, he could dance, he could sing, he could just everything. But Sandy Farina and I stay in touch. You know, we talked a couple of times after Sergeant Pepper, and we stay in touch on Facebook. And she has grandkids now, and one of her very dear friends, singer songwriter, stays in touch with me too. So, and I'm trying to think who else. Michael Schultz. There were people, dancers, who were in hair and makeup people who were involved with Sergeant Pepper that I see every once in a while too.
Couple of questions.
Yeah.
Dana, he's watching in Ontario, Canada, one of our Lovity viewers. We use the word Lovity because last summer I said the show has a lot of light, love, and levity. And I said love and levity too fast, and out came the word Lovity. So the viewers are part of my Lovity squad. They call me Mr. Lovity. This is Lovity Hall here. You're one of our Lovities now. Kenny was already designated a Lovity when he was on. Dana, one of our Lovities in Canada, says, are there any artists you wish you had worked with or still hope to?
Wow. I had a chance I was given permission to watch George Martin and Jeff Emmerich work on Sergeant Pepper mixing after we had done "Oh Darling," you know that scene, and so they let me stay, and I had a chance to work with him. I wish I could have worked with George Martin in some of the classical ideas that I have applied to pop music. I mean, I wanted to work with. I wanted Lionel Richie to produce me a long time ago, and he ended up producing somebody else. And oh my God, this one here.
So many,
Oh
huh?
God, you know it's wow.
It's
You
a
know, and
tough,
I'm gonna think about this
tough
afterwards,
one.
and
Yes, and you
and
guys
wish I
can.
and wish I had this moment again.
Well, we'll have. You're always going to be welcome back. The porch light is always going to stay on for you. Sean is here. Sean, we welcome Sean as well to the Jim Masters Show live. Sean says, Diane, are there any recordings on the horizon?
Yeah, the horizon, and we got to do it before the sun sets too. Yes, because as one woman show, I mean, Kenny's been recording things of me for many a moon, you know, and so
Yeah.
we go back and listen, and sometimes, I mean, I heard some things that I played on the other day for a Cabaret 805 show that I've been involved with adults wanting to learn how to sing. And we take them and we put songs in the right key. We tell them it's the right song. So my teacher vibe comes out, and then I get to play for them and change the arrangements. But um, in doing that, has evolved the Memoirs of a Daughter, where I can talk about my musical life and how it came about. So a lot of music is going to be involved in this. From, if I'm not going to do the Motown or the Memphis songs, I think I'll have to do Green Onions because we do it in our show. So I pick up things that I've done and songs that I've written that sound like Motown, or new things that are coming up that I want to make comments, or gospel things that I think puts the point across. And all of the singer-songwriters that I've met, Joseph Wooten and the Steve Miller Band writes tons of things, and I've been doing his songs. He had a song even before Black Lives Matter. Even he had a song called "I Matter," and I must have done that song for like 3 years, and it's just compelling. And these are the kinds of songs I like to do. And then we met. Went backstage and hung out with Three Dog Night down at Shoemash. And when I heard Corey and all of them singing, see, Kenny, now I'm forgetting the song. I'm getting all excited. But I heard some of the songs they did, and I went, oh, I gotta do that song. So the Joe Cocker cover. Oh, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's you know, I mean, I'll do. Picture yourself in a boat on a river. I'll do that. Of course, the key's got to drop now because I've turned into Smokey Topaz after all these
The
years.
audience is loving when you're gracing us with some of those wonderful sounds.
Well, you know, it's like when I got this lower voice and this womanly curve to my every dimension, then it was like, whatever Lola wants, Lola gets. And see, my mother sang that with my dad. He always said she couldn't sing, but he did use her in his orchestra when he needed a singer. And then she would do the cha-cha around the room, like, you know, this was during the or the 40s, you know. But whatever Lola wants, and all these great songs. Oh my God. I
Incredible,
have
huh?
fun. And a few years back, Kenny and I were asked to do an all-star band at the Rock Fest at the rock, oh, like Hard Rock. in Puerto Vallarta. And so Teddy Andreatis was the keyboard player, but and they were going to hire these background singers, and I couldn't get a hold of anybody. I couldn't get a hold of Andrea Robinson. I couldn't get a hold of a lot of people. So Kenny said, well, if you just need, I mean, I can sing background. Dianne can sing background. She could play second keys. Because, some musicians, a lot of musicians know me as a singer-songwriter, and some didn't even know I played piano. And then people who saw me in the movie don't know anything about any of this. Right. So then he said, yeah. And I said, Teddy, just, tell me what the songs are. So Kenny and I got together. We woodshedded everything. We made the charts. We got everything. And we backed Craig Fuller. We backed the Monkees, Mickey Dolenz. We backed, oh my God, from the Cars, Elliot Easton. And we had Kenny Aronoff on drums. He plays with everybody. Oh my God. See, Kenny's the one. See, he should be sitting right there. He can tell you the names of the groups, because I didn't start with rock and roll. I heard it all the time, but see, you guys, guitar players, all the names and everything. I knew of them, but then, so when I was going to, before Sgt. Pepper, I was going on the road to do my record. I was going to open up for either Gino Vanelli or George Benson, and we needed another singer. And so Kenny goes, oh, well, who can I get? They say, go down there and get, the guy that was the lead singer for Journey. Oh, see,
Steve Perry.
Steve Perry. So he goes down there and he goes to Steve Perry's house, because Steve Perry didn't have a gig, and so he tells me Steve Perry was supposed to be my background singer. And that's where it was lost on me, because I didn't know who he was until later. And then when he told me the story again, I didn't realize that was the same guy. And then when my gig fell through because I did Sgt. Pepper, Steve Perry went and worked on a chicken farm. So when Neil Sean, and they were trying to figure out who was going to be their lead singer, they had to go and get him down at the chicken farm and brought him out. God! So the people that I have had a chance to play with, and then Sgt. Pepper, now I'm pretty much accepted in the music realm and can play all that stuff, and also because of Kenny, because my area was mostly the girl diva singers on the piano, right? Singer-songwriters, right? And so, you get to a point where you just had to put that aside, and you're going to be a side man and see what that's like. Oh my! We've roadied. I roadied when I was pregnant.
What was that like?
Oh, it was interesting. And, we roadied, did a few gigs, met more people, played more piano than I ever had even before then, and then ended up in the middle of the Pacific Ocean doing a wedding, Kenny and I was in my 9th month. And there we were doing Lean on Me, like the cult, the group, boom. The funk group that was doing it. I forgot their name,
version of it, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Times in the life, I mean, oh yeah, baby. I like good feeling music. Listen, when I hear Prince come on, oh honey, I'm on the walls, I'm on the floor, I can't keep still. If I'm at the concert, I got to go out in the foyer and dance or whatever. But and here's another thing.
Be fantastic at parties.
Well, if I see people need a little help with what they're trying to dance with, I'll get out there, and they go, "Who is this?" And then Kenny goes, "Did you drink another margarita?" It's all part of the DNA, babe.
Or an iced tea from Long Island.
Or just from Long Island. Yeah. So I think I probably started some stories that I didn't finish, and I ask everyone's forgiveness
No,
if you still have some questions.
they're blended together. It's all part of the journey. What are some of those blessings and joys in your life that continue to spur you on to do this work and stay creative and connected with everybody?
Well, I think because I'm just open. It's like I'm an I'm an I'm an equal opportunity church service player too. I'll play at the UCC church, which we did for Easter. We were in our front room. Just we said we don't know how this pandemic thing is going to happen, and I've had 12 years of Catholic school.
Yeah.
Even at Steinberg, I'm just Catholic. So so. I go to UCC, Kenny and I go over there and we just started helping out with the music. I mean, there's some places we went and the music was so fantastic and we love going there and we love the message, but they didn't need us. It's like we were filled and we are not the star of the show. We just go, you got it. Look, what did Dylan say? You got to serve somebody. It might be the devil or it might be the Lord, but you got to serve somebody. So you got to give it up. You got to get out there and give. When you get depressed, do something. Pete's sake, And then sometimes I would not move until somebody would ask me. And then thank God I don't say no often. So they asked me, can you come over here and play? Can you accompany for the Women's March? And of course I can accompany for the Women's March. Who will rise up? It's like, yeah, that's purpose right there. As I'm playing the piano and next thing I know, I'm turning around and I'm in a newspaper article saying I'm speaking truth to power. And I wasn't even behind the microphone telling everybody but I'll tell you, I've been really tempted to get up at the microphone a few times and say something, and I was given the opportunity the other day at a concert for it was a tribute for someone who had passed, and apparently the sister-in-law of that person wasn't really happy, and so here she wanted to tell a room full of people who had all taken these classes and everything. She was a sister-in-law, mind you. And she says, oh, you people, you've been lied to. He's a liar. He was a terrible person. And it was my turn to get up and go on the mic. And she finished what she had to say. And it was like, well, you don't have to, nobody has to lie on anybody if they're going to show you who they are. So there was nothing to say other than we're going to claim the peace of this moment back into this room. That's and right. Keep doing what we have to do. And there's some things that's just presents itself to you and it's bigger than any smart thing you could say or any rotten thing you could say or any put down because it's not the best, it's at the end, what you say, it sits in your belly, and you go, yeah, you got them told. And then you sit with it and then you go, well, that was a lot of energy I could put toward just turning this thing around. Garbage in, garbage out. Let's move on. And then we had a terrific show. And I know, but one thing I did say, we all have trouble in our families. We all have issues. Maybe you're the good one, the bad one. Let's forget about all of that and let's forgive and move on and make music.
Absolutely.
Let's make music.
Beautifully said. Toby wanted to know, share a little bit about your gospel work, please.
You remember that girl when I was student teaching that showed me how to play some gospel piano? Well, then after a while of dealing in radio and my mother being one of the only women in radio and making everybody's hits and playing songs that nobody would play, but she was going to play them. I mean, she changed a lot of people's careers and helped out a lot of record companies, but she got to a point where she wanted more, because, she basically became a minister. And then there was another thing, women in ministry, and you're still in radio, and so she bought her own radio station. and she was one of the first women of color. I don't know what it was.
And the pledges are coming in.
Listen, I know it was they want me to renew my warranty, or they want me to sign up for a new Medicare program.
Oh, are you getting that? Yeah, renew your car warranty. I get all that too.
4 times a day. So anyway, now listen, I want to talk truth to power and say, can we do something about those calls? But let me stay on message here. So so my mother started her own following of people. I didn't know what she was doing. In fact, I think I was teaching when she said, I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but, and you girls I know you're so used to me being on stage and doing all this shiny, showy stuff. But she says, I've decided that I'm going to be born again. And we went, well, what are you talking about? And then she says, it's what I'm going to do. And so I went, I don't. And the next thing I know, they're trying to take her off the radio and put her on late at night. And she did that. And then there became this burgeoning fan base that exploded. And it was just so many that she had more power than she ever did. And she ended up being brought in as general manager on WJLB radio, but they not WJLB, it was WMOK, I think, and they changed the call letters to WQBH, Welcome Queen Back Home. So she was back on radio. They made her general manager, and as time went on, she bought the radio station from them. So she is one of the only woman who owned her own standalone AM radio station in the nation.
That's right.
And so she's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the Smithsonian, and the Radio Hall of Fame, the National Black Radio Hall of Fame. And that's another thing. People, they learn so much from me. I am my mother's daughter. And they didn't put together about all this race stuff. Look, move on already. It is what it is. Everything is kind of a cultural thing. And you're going to be whatever your culture is. And some of us have lots of cultures that interplay. But yet I have that understanding, and I know how to bridge the gap in many ways. And what I got to say to everybody is, we got to get ourselves together in the United States. In our America, I love America. We love America. We are not going to let our country be anything but what it was truly meant to be, in the intent of the heart of look, all laws come from the higher law. And that would be the heavenly laws, the laws of nature. Look, let's stop all this nonsense. And it's gonna take more time and more people getting out and knowing other people, and talking, exchanging ideas. Music and love arts. We can do that through the arts. We just have to learn how to listen. Even if you don't like hip hop, I don't go out and buy hip hop records, but I sure in the heck love some LL Cool J on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame last night. I went, whoa! Couldn't even hear all the lyrics, but there were other people that knew every lyric.
Absolutely.
So sometimes you just get into things that you don't know. Country music, maybe you're not country music. There's some country music I really love. So just expand your boundary this year, even if it's one thing that you've never done.
Yeah.
Do it. So how did I get into gospel music? I tried something that I had never done. My mother said, I have a new organization. It was the Home of Love, the Order of the Fisherman Ministry, and we want to have our own music. Can you write me a new Lord's Prayer? I wrote the Lord's Prayer. Kenny and I had just come back from Hawaii and hearing Bali, every day. And it's like, I heard that every day for like, what, 2 or 3 months? And it's like, Bali High was in my genes now, it's like, so I write this song that sounded Hawaiian. I went to Don the Beachcomber, sitting up at the bar. I had 2 Mai Tais, I'm writing this gospel album. I looked at the guys singing. They had just done the fire dance and everything. And I said, do you guys mind singing on some gospel music? And they went, yeah, we'll do it. So I was able to dig down, call somebody we knew in Hawaii. We got some old timer to give them the Hawaiian language for a part of the Lord's Prayer. And we translated it, we put it in the song. And so that song is there. Is it gospel? It's the Lord's Prayer. Now it was like, we did a Catholic sounding thing, it was very eclectic. But then when it came to the gospel part that we call gospel, with the gospel piano and the organs and the rhythm and everything, I had just met Sam Butler, and he did kind of a gospel version of a Greek play called Gospel at Colonus. And it was amazing. And so I just called to see if I could find this guy, and I found him, and he came to the house, and then we wrote a song called Good News. And I mean, it's good news. My God is blessing me with good news. Now, I'm not a gospel singer, and I've had some of the black guys from the old church go, you weren't raised in the church, were you? Well, yeah, kinda, but it wasn't in here and in my inflection. So I found Sam Butler, and he came over and he got on that thing, and I mean, I just loved it. And so it gave me the confidence to go ahead and try my hand at some other things. And so we had our own studio, so you can play it, layer it down, and then Kenny would put on the guitar, and Kenny would play the bass, and then Sam would come in and do overdubs, and then he sang it. And so that's how I got into the gospel thing, because it was a request. Yeah. And I said yes. And I was going nuts. I was going, I don't know if I can do this. Yeah. I can't do this. I don't know how to do it. I'm going to have to call Andre Crouch or somebody, and it's like, and it's like the Lord said, you know what? Yes, you can. I'm going to use what you have. Be quiet. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and do it. Make a joyful noise.
Speaking of doing that joyful noise, John asks, would you consider cutting a blues album?
You mean Smokey Topaz should do a blues album? Kenny had me sing a couple of things, and yeah, it's definitely going to have to be original. But, I took some of Diana Krall's songs, oh my God. And she had a blues album in there. It was like blues jazz, and that kind of fits me. I mean, how blues do you want me to go? Torture, or come on, John, tell me, what would you like for me to try?
Good question, right? What do you feel in your heart?
Listen, when I think of blue, when I think that I actually have the audacity to do blues and then go to Memphis and do it.
I was just about to say the Memphis, yeah.
You know what? I think they would bless me with a couple, but you know what? I'm gonna give it a try. You're getting me mad now. I got it.
She's now challenged. She likes a good challenge.
I think, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, when you say blues, the first thing that comes to my mind is torchy things like,
yes.
Oh, my man, I love him so, he'll never know Well, anyway, you know,
That's really nice. Toby, I was saying, Toby says steamy jazz.
steamy jazz, you know, yeah. And then here's another thing. I'm not really a jazz singer. I feel it all. So this is going to be something that is an embrace. Yeah,
Tracy
embrace.
Chapman,
Tracy
give me
Chapman's
one.
give me one reason to stay here. Yeah.
Lewis with raspy vocals and a Hammond B3.
Yeah, and I know just the guy with the Hammond too. The raspy is really very nice, especially since I've been pretty lazy and not vocalizing. So, you know what? I remember when Madonna was doing a song. I think could have been like a virgin, and they woke her up, and she did like a. I think it was reportedly on like a virgin, and she just got up from a nap or something, and she was very raspy, and she sang this song, and they kept that vocal because it was right, you know. So sometimes the things that are
Yeah.
not the right thing to do
Yeah.
is the perfect thing. Like John Legend says, your perfect imperfections
Ex-
work.
That's right. And our
Excuse me.
voices change during the course of the day. I find it with mine, being an on air person, that there are times of the day where it's deeper or lower. Usually in the morning, when you do first wake up, it's a little bit more raspy and lower. Sometimes in the evening, weather changes can do that. And as time has marched on, my voice has fortunately lowered.
Oh, oh yes.
It has.
And I think I'm about as low as you are.
I think I've met my match.
The challenge is going to be for me to vocalize and see how high can you get. Well, I
So
don't know. After
is this?
this
Are we
drink,
are
we'll
we
see.
starting something new here? Instead of Martin and Lewis, it's now Masters and Lewis.
Hey, yeah, that sounds pretty good. If people want to hear us yabber all night,
That's it.
I mean,
That's it.
listen, I have a lot of
Oh yes,
stories.
this is. I was thinking of this, and
Uh,
Merlin in Canada picked it up. There is sort of a Peggy Lee-ish quality to you there, and she says Peggy Lee's fever. There is a Peggy Lee. Have people ever said that before?
yes, I used to do it in my show when my voice was much higher. Yeah, yeah. Romeo loves Juliet. Yeah, well, listen, maybe my tribute will also be to all the women that Peggy Lee was one that I used to just love. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Did John say that?
That was Merlin in Ontario, Canada. She goes Peggy Lee's fever. Yes.
Oh, yes, darling. That is perfect. Somebody's laughing. Toby. Hey, Toby. I saw Toby a few weeks ago.
Now, did you ever consider going into radio yourself and following your mother's path on air
When
as a
when we
broadcaster?
when we went when my mother was about to make her transition, and she always said she wanted me to do it. And she says, "Listen, you don't have to wear all those long gowns and things that you just. I know that you can do it." And she felt that after I was on radio in college doing the news at Western Michigan University, and I felt that everything I should try everything. Then I should not only play piano, I even tried to play a little trumpet. And as part of your college education in music, you have to do. For me, it was like clarinet. I had to do trumpet and cello, and I did the viola. You know, you have to do all those music classes. Is just like life. Try all different textures and things, and you'd be very surprised at what you understand about them when you have to. If you have to arrange for a violin or viola, you know that there are some things that you need to pay attention to, and you get to feel it. I mean, the cello I played, and I just felt something resonate in me. But
Yes, the
but
cello
any
is one of my favorite instruments. One of
yeah,
my
and
favorite.
in fact, I had a professor tell me. He says, "You know what? You're a viola player," and I felt it much more than violin. didn't think I was that good, but there was something I felt with it. And but anyway, I forgot your question. Now, what was the question?
About following in your mother's footsteps and going in as a
Oh, yes.
broadcaster.
So my mother, they had given her last rites, and somebody had to go on the radio and tell the city of Detroit. They knew they found that she had passed, and you just couldn't leave it. They were still playing her old tapes and everything. Some people didn't even know she was on the radio.
Right.
I would talk to my sister, go, no, 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 don't tell her. Go, what do you mean, don't tell? So the pastor at her church, he said, can you go on? Because I thought he was going to go on and talk. And then I went, it's up to me. So I went on, and I told them, what my mother meant, what the city of Detroit meant to her, what what she meant to all of us, and how we were connected as brothers and sisters. Because when we were at the Paley Center, the Museum of Television and Radio, and she was one of the 50 being honored with Carol Burnett, Sherry Lewis, and Loretta Young, and Roseanne Barr. I mean, Betty White, and it was, one of the people honored that day, one of the 50 ladies, and she made an initiative. Her husband Dennis came up to me and he says, Dianne, I'm one of the people your mother raised. Your mother raised me. So, and she used to say things on the radio as, I know I got my people who are listening, but I got my closet listeners out in the suburbs listening to it. Everybody was listening to her,
Right.
And then when Gore and Clinton and everybody came in town, they'd always make a beehive to her because she had her ear to the rail of the people. And if you wanted to come in there with some nonsense, or you want to come into a meeting and grandstand and be a politician and say, they said, no, you're not coming in here with all of that. You're going to say, this is who it is. What do you have to say? Fine. You knew it was time to sit down because you were not going to come there and feed people with a bunch of crap because she was going to call you on it in front of everybody in a very nice way. She go, that's right. I'm going to talk to you afterwards. I go, ooh, the queen's got something to say to him. But so it's like when I got on the radio and I realized what she meant to so many people, and I said to her one day, I said, look, Mom, I can't be like you. She went, I know you're not going to be the queen like that. Be your own queen. So I listen.
Yeah.
And so
What
now
great advice, huh?
here I was on radio and talking to the people. And then I knew I had to be there for 3 weeks because we had estate things to settle. And then they said, Dianne, can you just come in here and just talk on the radio? So I went in, and this is the way it was. It was like, well, people, I'm here. The peach doesn't fall far from the tree, but I can't walk. I can't walk in my mom's shoes. I've tried it even on some of the things that I've been wearing in the closet. From her closet, and even though we wear the same size, her shoes are kind of hurting my feet, but I'm gonna wear them right now, and we're just gonna talk to each other because we need to talk to each other. We're gonna play some music, and we'll just take it like that. And they resonated with it, and I told somebody the other day, I forgot I was on radio for about 2 years. I was commuting from Santa Clarita to Detroit, and the kids were young. And Kenny said, "You got to go. You got to go. You got to save the radio station." Well, the board and my sisters kind of wanted. They didn't think that we could do it. I felt we could do it, but what are you going to do? You're just a 5% vote in 100% pie. So we just stuck with it as long as we could. And I wish we could have done it. And the response, and I worked with Rufus Beale and one of the icons in radio in Detroit, Jay Butler, who has all the history of radio right there in Detroit. And everybody's getting older now. But he said, I said, Jay, should I come? And he says, I'm not going to stop you. So I went on the air. And I was on every afternoon inspiration time. And it was a show, we would play my mother's messages. And I mean, she had her own, gospel and inspirational music, but they still played the hip hop and everything else on the other time slots, and jazz, R&B, and so I would listen to the message. And so the segue to that was Reflections of the Queen, and basically I just kind of shared what. So I would be sitting there listening to her because I didn't talk to her every day and I didn't hear her show every day because we didn't have the computers like we do now
Right.
to hear that. And I would hear some of her messages and I would say my thoughts about them afterwards and the things that I had learned in my spiritual journey. And then we went from talking about what the Queen would say to having our own joy and blessing the city and just talking about things and carrying on. And I actually forgot when people ask me what I've done, Sgt. Pepper, the 2 albums, I was a teacher, and I've never brought up that I did radio. So that you should ask me that, I don't know, it might be a sign here.
I was going to say, kindred spirits, being a broadcaster myself, I said I had to, with a mother prolific in that industry, if any of that tickled your fancy. And it's cool to know that it did in that way.
Well, you see, here was the problem with me. I get to a point, I'm very spiritual, but then I get to a point where I got some friends I just love cussing,
No, she didn't say cousins.
I said cussing. Hey,
So
they don't.
if you were on the radio, that 7-second delay would be used constantly?
No, I wouldn't do it. But see, listen, I should take that back. You guys, don't bother that I said that. You hear me now?
Strike that from the record. You didn't hear it. You thought you did.
But every once in a while, it pushes a point sometimes. But so I felt a little unworthy to now take over her show, and I'd like a lot of gospel music, but I just don't know that that's all I want to play.
Right.
So
Exactly, yeah.
we may be in the throes of redefining Dianne.
And you heard it here first on the
Yes, you
Master
did.
Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series, where we're bringing
Yes.
back the lost art of conversation. And that's what we
Yes.
need. We need conversation, right? We need to
Yes.
come together and converse and share ideas. And this really has been spectacular. I mean, it's been sort of a full circle conversation about life and family and careers and music and what it all means. And like I said, he usually shows up towards the end, but we showed him a little bit earlier. George absolutely loved this conversation.
George, hi, baby.
This was my aunt's. She collected dolls, and this came out when he was 100 years old. It was a limited collectible, and she got one, and it got passed down to me by my cousin. So we throw him in towards the latter part, and he just says to the guests that they knocked it out of the park and that they did well, and he sends his love.
Thank you, Godfather.
And you worked with him.
I sure did.
Him.
Yes, I even hugged him and gave him kisses and everything else.
That's incredible. The memory.
Well, not everything else.
Well, not shared the levity. You shared the levity.
Yes.
That's it. This was really wonderful. And I know all the viewers have been commenting. They've enjoyed it as well. And we definitely going to keep the porch light on for you, my friend. And hopefully
Thank
we'll
you
all
so
get
much,
together, in person and break bread. That would be fantastic. What would be something that you would like to share maybe about our conversation or the show or anything that you wanted to share with our audience before we move on to having dinner?
Well, yes, it's time to get on. I just heard about one of these jets that's going to get us from New York to here in like It's not out yet, but I was just listening to it today. For $100, get us here in about 2 hours.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. I'm waiting for that. Let's hope it happens in our lifetime.
Absolutely.
But so I'll take you up on that dinner. But what I really enjoyed today was I think you made me think about some things that I need to have some answers for. Definitely next time. There's so many people I admire that to come up with one person that just did it all for me. I can't right now, but
Yeah,
I'm going to think about it. But
absolutely.
will not depart from me with your interview is that you've taken me some places to challenge me with some things that I thought about doing that I put off that I've been challenged to do, and now you ask me that question again. So I thank you for
Ah,
that,
the
and
pleasure's all mine.
I hope that I didn't go off on too many tangents, which
No.
I am very apt to do. So please forgive me, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, the
It
Sergeant Pepper
happens.
movie was like that too. That went off in a lot of different tangents.
Oh, it sure
Sure
did.
did.
Yeah,
Well, I
and
really,
there. Thank you, thank
oh,
you,
it was
Mr. Lewis.
fantastic. I was going to say a couple comments coming in here from the audience. Merlin in Canada says, really enjoyed the show. Diane, you're like a family member. Love you. One of our lovities here on the show, John O'Dowd, said, thank you, Diane and Jim. I enjoyed it very much.
Thank
Christine
you.
Clifton in North Carolina says, Diane, thanks for sharing so many fantastic backstories of your life, career, your words of wisdom. You've brightened Lovity Hall. What a career, Diane. Enjoyable conversation. You are a fun Lovity. And lots of comments coming in here.
Oh, that's very nice.
Diener, so totally enjoyed it. Thank you so much for the amazing heartfelt stories. We're blessed to be present for this.
Thank you,
Absolutely. I
dear.
agree with all of our lovities here who just have been piling on all these wonderful comments. And thanks to everybody for these comments and for all
Well,
this
I'm taking them all and I'm
joy.
holding them close.
Sherry Larson in Kansas says, thank you, Jim, for another wonderful conversation. Toodles. I love that as well. Thank you, Sherry. And totally enjoyed this. She also says, thank you, Diane, for sharing your memories. Love your energy and humor. Best wishes for all you do. Yeah, I love that as well. Good stuff. I hope the show met whatever expectations you had and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, Diane.
Oh, I did, and whatever anyone wants to offer or ask questions, I'm very happy. They can contact me. I can answer those questions, and maybe we can just have a show of answering everybody's
Just
questions, so I can
Q&A.
remember everybody's names. Okay, and hopefully by then I will have a recording or something new for you to play, and
Yeah.
some new pictures, and not just selfies with
Well,
filters.
well, this was truly wonderful, and I thoroughly enjoyed the time with you. And
I
we
did
we
too.
chatted for 2 hours and 17
No,
minutes.
you're. Oh my
Could you imagine? It
goodness.
didn't feel like it, right? That's what every
Well,
guest says. It never feels like it. We just let it roll, conversational, warm, and we just let it roll. And it was so far 2 hours and 17 minutes. It's hard to
well,
believe, huh?
that was lovely. I hope everybody had as much fun as I did. And thank you again, Jim. And I look forward to meeting you live and in person one of these days soon. And whenever you want me to come back on, I'm very happy to do it.
Oh,
And we'll
my
do it
pleasure.
in less than an hour.
Yeah, we'll talk fast, right?
Yeah.
This was really a pleasure. Thanks for everything. And best to Kenny. And you guys have a
Yes.
wonderful holiday. All the
Yes,
holidays
you too.
coming up. And again, truly enjoyed this time with you here on the show. And I'm
Yes.
glad you enjoyed yourself as well,
Yes, I
Diane.
did. Happy Thanksgiving and blessings to you all. God bless. Bye
Take
bye.
care. Bye bye now. Dianne Steinberg Lewis, singer, songwriter, and so much more, teacher, and really somebody who's so inspiring, huh? Absolutely. I knew you guys would enjoy this episode. I've been seeing all these comments happening. Toby says, quite fun. And Merlin says, bye bye, Diane, and Kenny as well. That was fun, and all these great comments. If you'd like to see this episode again or you missed anything, it's all here. Oh, Toby says, home run show. Thank you very much, Toby. Glad you enjoyed it. We have over 550 episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live entertainment lifestyle talk show series, all available right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, a channel dedicated to entertaining, informing, educating, and inspiring. We absolutely love it. And if you haven't seen some of the guests that have been on, the Pointer Sisters were here, Anita and Ruth. We had a fantastic conversation with them. You can see that episode. Comedy legend Judy Tenuta was in the house. We had a great time with her. You can see that episode as well. David Osman, he is the nephew of Donnie and Marie and the son of Alan. He opened up about his struggle with MS. He also talked about wonderful work he was doing with his aunt, Marie Osman, and the fact that he's host of Wonderama, the kids show as well. Linda Pearl was with us, iconic TV and film actress and singer Linda Pearl, and Patrick Duffy stopped by as well. Linda and Patrick are together as a couple, and they were both on the Jim Masters Show Live as well. Want to let you know that actor Nathan Butler, you know him from the soaps and so much more. Matter of fact, this month he's on NCIS on CBS. He's stopping by on December 1st. Kelly Conway was with us, daughter of comedy legend Tim Conway. She wrote this fabulous book, My Dad's Funnier Than Your Dad, celebrating the life of her dad. Of course, the incredible Tim Conway from The Carol Burnett Show. Cassandra Carroll is with us, celebrating Marilyn Monroe, and so many others, all available. Jerry Mathers from Leave It to Beaver was with us. It's incredible. We've got so many surprises coming up as well with guests and just so much more. And of course, we're much more than just chatting. We have a wonderful relationship, you and I, with our shows. We do so many incredible things with these series. It's like an old school entertainment lifestyle talk show variety series, but with a modern twist and a modern vibe of today. We do sometimes host Lovity chat shows where it's just the viewers and myself. We've done holiday themed shows. We've done music singing carol shows. We've done St. Patrick's Day and Valentine's Day and birthday celebrations and so much more. We don't really call this an interview show. We call this truly an entertainment lifestyle variety talk show series where we sprinkle in a little of everything, and no two shows are the same. Help us grow and share the Lovity. Share the links on your social media. Tell everybody about the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. If you enjoyed this episode or any of the episodes of our fun series, don't forget to like it. Give it a like on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well if you haven't. We'd love it. That's Jim Masters TV. Click the notification bell so you never miss any of our episodes. And leave a comment on our YouTube channel. You're watching on our YouTube channel right now. So before you go, leave a comment for us as well. For those watching live, thanks for being with us. We have more great episodes coming up. Tomorrow, we have Jessica Radetsky. She is founder of the Broadway Hearts Foundation. They do incredible work, music, that is performed for children in the children's hospitals. A lot of the Broadway favorites, you know, some of your favorite Broadway shows, they perform elements of them for children who are struggling in children's hospitals and so much more. It's a beautiful organization. And she's with us tomorrow. For those of you who are watching live, those of you who are watching this episode, because we archive them all on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, you're watching this 2 weeks from now, 6 months from now, 2 years from now. Stay right here because another episode of the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series is coming right up for you. Absolutely fantastic. Again, great memories that we shared with Dianne today on the show. Really, really cool stuff. And talking about, again, all the great folks she's had an opportunity to work with. And of course, Sergeant Pepper. We were talking about Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club movie, which she was in as Lucy. And of course, the renowned version and rendition of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which she performed. And of course, with so many great people she worked with. Aerosmith was in the movie, and Steve Martin, of course, as well. And George Burns, who we always talk about here on the show, and Billy Preston, and so many others. Of course, the Bee Gees, too. If you've never checked out the movie, it is wacky. It's definitely a wacky movie, a cool movie, quirky, and it's part of Americana for sure. Absolutely. Really had a good time. There's the Bee Gees and Peter Frampton, of course, from the movie. Really cool stuff, gang. We thank Dianne for joining us, and we thank all of you. We're going to have some dinner now, and we're back tomorrow at our regular time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And again, binge watch over 500 plus episodes of our series. Great guests from all walks of life, celebrity friends. We had chefs on. We've had just so many great people, comedians, Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, stage, culinary arts, sports, comedy have all passed through the Jim Masters Show live. Now, Toby wants Michael J. Fox on the show. Ooh, that sounds good. We'll work on that. By the way, nice hairstyle and cut at Jim Masters TV. Thank you very much. We had it just done. I was on PBS. We were filming some segments for upcoming PBS specials that are going to start airing this weekend on PBS. So we got all, and then I was on a television shoot with the lifestyle travel TV series I do on CW and CBS stations, sampling lots of food. I'll show you those pictures on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook at Jim Masters TV, Instagram Jim Masters TV, Twitter at Jim Masters TV as well, and of course our YouTube channel. Hugs from Merlin, and right back at you, and Kathleen in New York City, of course, Kathleen Walker. Have a great night, Jim. Good night, all. Hugs. Again, this is where the talk show part comes in. Mary Bishop, good night all. See you tomorrow. That's Mary in Florida. Dina in Ontario, Canada says, great show. Thank you very much. Jim, thanks for this interesting, fun, and inspirational episode with Dianne. Loved her. Till next time, lovety hugs. Absolutely. Yeah, cool stuff. Thanks for all these great comments. Colleen, thank you, Jim and Dianne. Great show. See you all later. See you on the next one as well. And everybody watching, we really love all of you and appreciate all the comments and all this levity, as we call it here on the Jim Masters Show Live. We're going to catch you next time, gang. You are truly the best. We appreciate all that you're doing. Just looking at these comments. This is your host, Jim Masters. Thank you for your time this time till next time. Stay tuned. Another episode comes up if you're not watching live right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Otherwise, we'll see you live on the next episode. For all of us, be good to one another. Take care of yourselves. As we always say, we have a little bit of a goodbye here. We say, don't forget to smile. Don't forget to share the levity. Don't forget to find your Zen place. Mine is with loving family and friends. And of course, the ocean. We're right here on the East Coast in the Northeast. The ocean is right here. Love it. And my work in television, radio, stage, and film over the years is also very Zen for me as well. So find your Zen place. Dianne talked a lot about that today. Do it. Just go for it. Life is short. Just go do your thing and share it with the world. We do that all the time. I do it in my professional work. I do it off air in life. And I like to do it here with all of you on JMS Live. We'll see you again soon, okay? Another comment coming in. We'll check that in before we head out. Starving. Haven't had a thing to eat at all today because we were working. I was on the radio today, and then we had a couple of shows. Relax from Merlin. Yes, we are going to do that. We are going to relax. And Dianne, yes, yeah, I forgot to say this to Dianne. I usually tell the guests now go and stretch those legs, get the circulation going. Good stuff. Good stuff. And Maureen is here from Arizona. Hello, everyone. Just got home to this. Another archives viewing from me, but I wanted to say hello and send all tight hugs. We miss you as well, Maureen. Yes, you can see this episode in our archives as well. Take care, gang. We'll see you on the next episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. It's always great when you're here and we're here together. I always love it. We'll see you again soon. You be well, okay? Take care and cheers.